Ever wondered why you couldn't get a ticket to the biggest gigs? A Dispatch's Undercover investigation tells you the real story online ticket companies didn't want you to see. The Great Ticket Scandal contains some strong language.
Concerts sold out. Sporting events sold out. Theatres sold out. And even a sold-out art gallery.
But hang on. If you go online, there are lots of tickets for sale, some at incredible prices.
100, 200, 300, 400, £1,000, one single ticket, more than £2 grand.
I've had to pay it because there was no other way around it, really. But yeah, it sucks.
We've been inside the ticket reselling business and found some shocking reasons why your tickets can cost so much.
We're making a lot more money than we ever should on this.
Two Dispatch's reporters have been undercover inside major companies who run what are known as fan-to-fan ticket exchanges. They say they're websites where real fans can resell tickets they can no longer use. But we found promoters allocating tickets for the biggest gigs to be sold at large markups.
We have to keep it secret and not tell them because, it's really fucking shady.
We found professional ticket resellers operating through sites supposedly run for fans.
I mean, all this information, we don't know anything about it. That's absolutely because that's the kind of things that they don't want anyone to know.
We even found one company buying tickets themselves and then selling them, something they claim they don't do.
Is that what all the credit cards are for then?
Yeah.
For the buying of the Ticketmaster?
Highly immoral.
The reselling of tickets for sold-out gigs infuriates us, the fans. Remember last September when tickets for Coldplay at the O2 Arena went on sale? Fans across the nation had the same experience. It sold out fast, reportedly within minutes. Anastasia Brennikov says she tried to get tickets as soon as they went on sale.
I was on the official website and then there was nothing. I tried the O2, nothing again, and I thought maybe they're not on sale yet, and they had literally just sold out already.
But soon after, she saw tickets for the gig being sold on secondary websites, places where people can resell their tickets.
After about 15 minutes, there were tickets on sale on other sites.
And what were the prices of those tickets?
Anywhere between £85 to probably 200. So I didn't do it. It made me feel gutted because not everybody who would like to see them gets to see them, and not everybody who wants to see them can afford to see them either. So it is pretty upsetting.
Nearly 500 Coldplay fans signed an online petitioning complaint. The websites which caused this controversy say that the prices are set by the sellers. Some can be astronomical.
Here is a ticket for the West End play One Man, Two Governors. The seat is on the very back row, and the seller is asking for £400, just one ticket. If you're into rugby, I can do you England versus Ireland at Twickenham. The cheapest seat is £400. Most expensive, £1,000. And finally, you may want to sit yourself down for this one, just one ticket for Band of the Moment Coldplay, £2,292. I mean, they're good, but £2 and a bit grand.
We saw how quickly tickets end up on these sites last October when a one-off Paul McCartney gig went on sale at the Liverpool Echo Arena. Excited fans camped overnight outside the box office. At 9 o'clock the sale opened and there was a scramble for tickets on the internet too, with a reported 1 million hits online. Lots of fans trying from home were unlucky, like Chris Del Manso, who sent us this video.
And I was pressing refresh every few seconds, and as soon as it went from not being yet on sale to buy now, I clicked to buy a ticket, and there was nothing available.
A phrase some people heard outside the box office too.
I mean, I'm extremely disappointed because I was so close. I could have got my tape measure and said, yeah, it's that close, and I couldn't get my ticket.
And yet we went online at 9:30 that very morning and filmed these two secondary websites called ViaGoGo and Seatwave. Seatwave already had more than 300 tickets listed from £116 to nearly £1,100, plus the Seatwave fees. ViaGoGo had 8 pages of tickets, from £125 to over £1,750, again plus fees. Chris says he ended up buying one off Seatwave.
And I bought a ticket for the gig for £190, so I ended up paying double.
So who's selling these tickets, and how are they listing them so fast? It's hard to know, as the sites keep the sellers anonymous. But music fan Julie Watson from Glasgow has a hunch. 3 years ago, she says she found something strange going on. She queued up outside the box office at the Clyde Auditorium to guarantee she got a front row seat for Will Young. It was a tour promoted by the biggest live events company in the world, Live Nation. Although she says she was first in the queue, she got a nasty shock.
When the box office opened at 9 o'clock, the chap behind the desk immediately told us we couldn't have anything centrally in the first 5 rows because they weren't available. He then informed us the reason for this was the fact that tickets had gone to a company called ViaGoGo, which I'd never heard of before.
So Julie says she looked on the ViaGoGo website and saw the front row tickets listed there for sale.
They actually had the tickets for the ones that I tried to get that morning. I think at that point we're selling for about double the face value.
Julie says she was determined to find out more. She bought a £35 face price ticket from the ViaGoGo site, costing her nearly £60, including fees. As it was close to the gig, she was told by ViaGoGo to pick it up from the box office. And then she saw something strange on the ticket.
ViaGoGo's name is actually where you would expect to see the name of the person who's bought the tickets.
But how can that be?
If you open up the ViaGoGo website here, it tells you it allows fans to buy and sell tickets. But if what Julie says is right, front row seats had gone straight to ViaGoGo and had been sold to the public at over face value. That doesn't seem to add up.
So what's going on? Well, we went undercover inside ViaGoGo to find out. The company says it's Europe's largest ticket exchange, selling tens of millions of pounds worth of tickets every year. They employ more than 100 staff at their London offices. And our undercover reporter, Paul, has been given a job in customer services. He'll be dealing with emails from members of the public who've bought tickets sold through the site. But first, it's a few days of training about how the company works. Paul's told some sellers through the site are ordinary fans. But he's also told that many tickets aren't coming from other fans, but from another source entirely.
We have allocations, for example, for very big events, Vienna, Westlife, let's take that. We are getting allocations from the promoter, so we are allowed to sell them on our website with our internal accounts. So on these ones, the seller is basically us.
Yet this isn't how the public has been led to believe that the system works when a big tour goes on sale. Promoters distribute tickets through what are known as allocations. And we're told these allocations normally go to so-called primary ticket agents, like Ticketmaster, to be sold at face value. But this manager is saying that some promoters are also giving allocations to ViaGoGo, even though it says it's a site where people buy and sell tickets to each other. In a training session with his team leader, Paul's told more.
We have a whole primary team that deals with the promoter and with the venues and with the box office, and we have some deals with them.
Okay.
So we get tickets directly and they deliver all the tickets to us.
Okay.
She says Paul is not to pass on this information when he's dealing with the public.
I mean, it's really important that we never communicate to anyone that these accounts exist and that we do have tickets.
Okay.
Because that's something internal that they're not supposed to know. And they, as far as we're concerned, we're a ticket exchange and we don't own any tickets.
Okay.
And he's told what to say if anyone outside the company guesses what may be going on.
But we don't confirm it, we don't deny it, we just don't comment on it. We just say, we'll speak to the seller and let you know.
Okay, yeah.
Paul is told ViaGoGo has a whole team dedicated to arranging these deals. Then there's another team which gets the tickets into the office, then ships them out. While Paul's working at ViaGoGo, a big gig comes up. Coldplay at the O2 Arena. It's promoted by SJM Concerts with another promoter called Metropolis Music. And it's the tour which has been causing outrage over how quickly it sold out. Paul learns where at least some of the tickets went. ViaGoGo had an allocation. His team leader shows him the internal accounts the tickets were sold through. The accounts are given names of people who work at ViaGoGo.
For example, Coldplay seller plus Merit at ViaGoGo.
Okay, yeah.
Those are our primary accounts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
The name on the account which she mentions, Merit, refers to Merit Bear. This is him in the office, and he's a senior manager in their primary team. Later, Paul films the listings and transactions for this account as he does his job. He can see that lots of allocated tickets for the O2 gig were sold to fans at way over their face value. An ordinary seat in the lower tier was face value £65 plus booking fee. But ViaGoGo sold them at sometimes more than £200. This person paid £542, including fees, for 2 tickets. Now the seats are near here, and at £271 a ticket, well over 3 times the face value, it is an awful lot to pay when you're this far away from the band. In the primary account his team leader showed him, Paul can see that over 1,800 tickets were sold for nearly £230,000. That's around £123 per allocated ticket. After the gig, Paul gets further confirmation that the public is not told about allocations like this. Coldplay are playing again in 2012, and he finds they have an allocation for this tour too. He takes a query from a customer to Merit Bear, a senior manager on the primary team.
You're Merit, aren't you? Hi.
The customer wants to know where his seat will be, as it's not made plain on the website. Again, Paul is given instructions not to say where the tickets have come from.
So do you know, what do you reckon we should tell the buyer when they're...
Do not tell them their primary tickets, obviously. That the exact seat locations will not be available till January.
Okay, thank you.
Christmas is around the corner and the whole team goes for a meal in London. Paul gets to find out a lot more about how these allocations work. As staff chat outside, he meets this colleague. He says his job is reporting the sales figures for some of these allocations.
So what do you guys do?
Like whenever we get like prime allocations, so to speak, you know, like from Live Nation or whatever, then we list the tickets basically and then price them, and that's pretty much it. It's usually Live Nation or like SJM.
Is that promoter also?
Yeah.
Live Nation or SJM, okay.
Yeah, it's usually one of those two.
Live Nation is the biggest live entertainment company in the world. And SJM Concerts promoted the Coldplay gig at the O2 Arena in December, along with Metropolis Music. He explains how the deals work.
And so how come they give us tickets? Because we give them a split or something? Or like...
Yeah, basically we give them like a 90-10 split, so they get their face value and they get 90% of whatever we make of it.
They get 90% of it?
Yeah. Then we get like the 15% booking fee, that's ours.
Yeah, okay.
So like we sort of win. It depends on the allocation. If it's like 20 tickets, there's no fucking point because there's no money in it at all.
Yeah.
But if it's like 1,000 tickets, then we get 15% of whatever the face value is. And that's good money.
So what are the big gigs?
Like this year, Coldplay's been ridiculous.
So how many tickets do you get for Coldplay?
We've got like 1,000 a day.
1,000 a day, okay.
ViaGoGo claim that the prices on their website are not determined by them but by the seller. But according to this colleague, It's ViaGoGo managers who are setting the prices for thousands of tickets.
Who decides how much to sell them for?
Just play it by ear, really. Like on the on sale, we just like mark up to a ridiculous extent because people panic on the on sale. Like things are sold out immediately, so they're right, buy.
Yeah, yeah.
But then, like over time, that drops down obviously because there's no demand all of a sudden. Yeah. And then it just like we have these meetings 3 or 4 times a week, like about all of our allocations, how they're doing, and then it's like, well, like we've had 2,000 visits, we've not sold a single ticket. We should probably lower the prices, like that sort of thing.
He says if sales are going well, though, they increase the prices.
Whenever they come through as sales, I get the emails so that I know if they're selling well to raise the prices or whatever.
Do you reckon the artists and the venues like know about it? Or?
No. Well, so, like, I'd say maybe 50% of the venues know about it, but then a lot of the time we have to keep it secret and not tell them because, like, it's really fucking shady. Like, we're making a lot more money than we ever should on this.
Right, okay.
Next.
Take That are going back on tour.
We uncover the scale of allocations ViaGoGo has received for some of Britain's biggest acts. And we find them using a book of credit cards to buy tickets and then sell them. Although they claim they don't do that.
So we bought them off the Ticketmaster or whatever and resold them basically. Highly immoral.
Dispatches is investigating an enormous industry, the online reselling of tickets. Our undercover reporter Paul is filming inside one of the biggest companies called ViaGoGo. It says it's a fan-to-fan ticket exchange for people to buy and sell tickets to each other. But we've found them getting allocations for thousands of tickets from promoters and selling many way over face price. After a few weeks of work, Paul volunteers for some overtime and is asked to take a laptop home with him.
The laptop, yeah.
Okay, cool. Perfect.
And he sees this document on the system. It shows ViaGoGo had an allocation for the V Festival last summer. This was organised by SJM Concerts along with Metropolis Music and MCD. It shows ViaGoGo were allocated over 4,500 tickets. The tickets they sold had a face value of £620,000. But they sold them at nearly £900,000. That's £250,000 over face value. It says nearly all of this, £884,000, was passed back to the promoter. Paul also finds that ViaGoGo had an allocation for the biggest tour in recent times. In October 2010, there was a big announcement.
Take That are going back on tour.
Demand was huge, with people queuing overnight at the box office and bombarding the internet and phone lines. Stephanie Loxton says she went online the moment they went on sale.
So tour's announced,
yeah.
You're there prime with a credit card, what happens next?
I just couldn't get hold of the tickets. I was there just before 9 o'clock when the tickets were due to go on sale, and there was just no tickets available.
As so often happens with big gigs, the tickets turned up on secondary sites.
So you go to these other sites and you see Take That tickets up for sale for way more than face value. What are you thinking?
When a ticket goes from £50 to £150, £200, I have my limits. And I just thought this is ridiculous. Someone's clearly making money out of this. And there's a lot of people out there who are, you know, diehard fans that actually couldn't get to go because of the greed of others.
Paul finds out what the fans didn't know. ViaGoGo had their own allocation for this tour. These are some sales for their concert at the Stadium of Light in Sunderland. Standing and unreserved tickets, face value £55. They sold these particular ones for around £100 to £125 each. In the accounts Paul sees, they sold over 29,000 tickets for £3 million, an average of more than £100 a ticket, a long way over the face price. At work, Paul gets access to another document which reveals more about the scale of allocations.
Now that document was a list of big events, mostly for this year, in the UK. And it says that ViaGoGo has deals to get allocations of tickets for them all. It lists nearly 50,000 tickets they've been allocated for 50 well-known acts, music events, sporting occasions and the like.
Strictly Come Dancing.
Among the events are 800 tickets for the live show of the BBC's Strictly Come Dancing. It's promoted by Phil McIntyre Entertainment and Stage Entertainment UK, and glossily advertised on this website.
Disaster.
Also on the list, 800 tickets for the live tour of The X Factor, promoted by 3A Entertainment. 2,200 tickets for Rihanna's UK tour. And over 3,000 for Westlife's 2012 tour, both promoted by Live Nation.
The biggest allocation of them all, it's Coldplay. 9,000 tickets for their upcoming stadium tour.
After we finished filming Undercover, we went to meet Sharon Hodgson MP. Now, she's been raising concerns over the secondary ticket market ever since she had a bad experience 4 years ago.
It all began with my daughter one day trying to find tickets for Take That tour, and the tickets were all sold out, and then continued searching and found some on the secondary market, marked up quadruple the price, up to £400+ a ticket. The unfairness of it just hit me straight away.
Since then, she's been campaigning for more regulation for the resale of tickets.
We've been undercover in ViaGoGo. What we have found out is that for the Take That tour last year, they were given a direct allocation. They got hold of 29,000 tickets. They sold them for, I think, an average of £100 beyond face value of some of the tickets.
That is absolutely disgraceful, and I'd be surprised, very surprised. I would hope Take That did not give permission for that to happen, because some fans queued for hours, and if they thought that there was an allocation being given, it's just not fair. How can the secondary websites be given an allocation of tickets directly? That the fans understand that the tickets all go on sale to them first. They've got even less of a fair chance to get them if some are being given directly to ViaGoGo. It's just not right.
We found no evidence that any of the artists are aware of the allocations. We approached the promoters of the acts for which we had evidence of allocations. Phil McIntyre Entertainments and Stage Entertainment UK confirmed that they had given an allocation for the Strictly Come Dancing tour to ViaGoGo. They said that ViaGoGo came well recommended by other promoters in the industry and was selected in good faith. Live Nation, SJM Concerts, Metropolis Music, MCD and 3A Entertainment are members of the Concert Promoters Association. The association told us it was concerned about the fraudulent listing of non-existent tickets online. It said that promoters putting tickets onto the secondary market brought prices down, while ensuring that some of the tickets in the market were genuine. It said,
"In this respect, the secondary market is effectively being used as a premium price primary market for those fans who wish to use it for convenience."
It said those fans would
be happier that the premium went to the artist via the promoter rather than went to a tout.
While Paul was undercover, he found another practice which the public isn't told about. ViaGoGo says it's not the seller of tickets on its website, and all tickets come from third parties. But on the desk of this supply manager, Paul spots a book containing credit cards.
Bloody hell, you going Christmas shopping?
Yeah, it's all me.
Pretty good amount of cards, isn't it?
At the Christmas dinner for ViaGoGo staff, Paul asks him about it.
Do you have to buy all the tickets, like, put it up?
If we don't have an allocation, then we do buy them, yeah.
Okay.
But, which is, like, highly fucking immoral, but, you know.
We're buying them.
Yeah, and then, like, reselling them for double the price, because we just bought them off Ticketmaster. As soon as the 9 AM pre-sale comes on, like, on sale comes on, sorry, just get on Ticketmaster and buy them like a normal person would, but because we're there,
just your team?
Yeah, because that's our job to buy them, then we always get, like, first dibs, essentially, because we're there. And there's so many of us,
As he works, Paul starts to suspect that the transactions where they're just buying and selling tickets themselves go through an account called inventory. The next week, he asks the same supply manager what the inventory account is all about.
Inventory ones are ones that we didn't have an allocation for.
Okay.
Now,
and you what?
And so we bought them off the Ticketmaster or whatever and resold them basically.
Is that what all the credit cards are for then, for when you...
Yeah.
For the buying of the Ticketmaster?
Highly immoral. Brilliant.
Ticketmaster limits the number of tickets you can buy on one credit card to stop bulk buying. But the supply manager says ViaGoGo uses a number of credit cards, all registered to different addresses to get round the system.
It's usually a maximum of 6.
6, okay.
Per person, per address, I guess, but yeah, that's why we've got so many, so we can get...
Do they not realise they're all from the same address?
Like, all the billing addresses for the cards are our own houses.
Yeah.
If they're going to the same address, then Ticketmaster will cancel regardless.
Oh, right, so everyone puts personal address down?
Basically, because like, the address I'm at right now is registered to my dad's address, and my mum's address is completely different, so
okay.
I've got 2 addresses.
So you can get double the
fun, yes.
Double the fun.
We told MP Sharon Hodgson about this.
That is shameful. That is a total misrepresentation of what ViaGoGo say that they do. It's no wonder people can't get tickets when they go on sale. You know, you're up against people sitting there with multiple credit cards, doing it as a job for a so-called legitimate secondary website. It's disgraceful.
After a couple of weeks undercover, Paul is asked to move to a new team.
Okay, I wanted to ask you if you'd be okay coming to the seller team.
Yeah.
ViaGoGo describes itself as a fan-to-fan website. And they do have what they call fans, or individual sellers, who sell a small amount of tickets each. But Paul is now joining a team which concentrates on helping another level of sellers entirely. ViaGoGo calls them power sellers, or brokers.
The sellers are kind of partners, suppliers to us, so they know us and we know them, they know our names, and you deal with them with the same people every day.
The team leader tells him that many of them are large-scale operators.
And then there's professional sellers, they're actually doing it full time and they have staff and employees and they actually have a company. Some of them have affiliates to the primary market. And some sellers, they have allocations.
Because they have a contact in the venue or something?
Yeah, they have a contact, or they actually own a box. They own a certain part of a section. There are sellers that actually have a primary machine in their office where they just print tickets.
But Paul is told never to divulge this to the members of the public he's dealing with, not even to other colleagues.
I mean, all this information, we don't know anything about it. We should never...
No.
Even, like, to people in the bar, to anything like... That's absolutely, like... Because the more... That's the kind of things that they don't want anyone to know. But yeah, some sellers...
Another colleague tells him to keep it quiet that there are professionals selling through the site.
Just say broker power seller. In theory, we don't want to give the information that they are like sort of professionals that have loads of tickets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just a ticket exchange for individual people. So just maybe say frequent sellers with a good rating.
The ViaGoGo website doesn't give a breakdown of the kind of sellers who list tickets, though it has made some public comments about it.
This is what ViaGoGo said to a financial website last year.
The overwhelming majority of sellers on ViaGoGo are ordinary sports and music fans who are trying to sell on tickets that they can no longer use.
Well, it might be true that the majority of sellers through ViaGoGo are ordinary fans, but we've discovered that fans definitely are not responsible for the majority of ticket sales.
We know this because Paul's team leader showed him the sales figures for November last year.
And those were the amounts of how many transactions there were. So the biggest thing is power sellers.
Biggest thing is power sellers, yeah. Okay.
And so, yeah.
Out of a total of 38,000 transactions that month, 11,000 were by power sellers, 10,000 primary, so they were tickets sold by ViaGoGo themselves, and only 9,000 were by fans. So fans were responsible for less than a quarter of the sales that month. Secondary websites like ViaGoGo have obligations to be fair with the public under consumer legislation. Professor Christian Twig-Flessner specialises in this area of the law. I showed him the evidence we'd gathered at ViaGoGo and asked him for his expert opinion.
What's your reaction to what you've just seen there?
I am very surprised by what I've just seen, because this seems to be painting a completely different picture from that which is presented to those who go onto ViaGoGo and buy tickets on ViaGoGo.
Does it contravene any element of legislation in your view?
It does, yes. We don't have specific legislation on ticket resales, but what we do have is a fairly new piece of legislation to protect consumers against all sorts of unfair commercial practices, unfair trading practices. Now, in this case, we see a lot of evidence that ViaGoGo is involved in misleading practices. They're presenting tickets as being supplied by fans when they're supplied by ViaGoGo. The prices for those tickets are not set by fans, but at least in some cases set by ViaGoGo directly. A lot of this seems to be a misleading commercial practice under these regulations.
We approached ViaGoGo for their response to our findings. They told us,
ViaGoGo exists to provide a safe, secure marketplace for the buying and selling of live event tickets. ViaGoGo is an open marketplace, and while the majority of sellers are individuals, we do not disallow larger sellers, including event organisers, from selling on our platform. Above all, we provide a guarantee that buyers will get the tickets they have paid for, which has helped dramatically reduce ticket fraud and scams in the UK.
the online resale of tickets at high prices angers lots of fans.
Tell me about Rihanna. You tried to get them, what, 9 o'clock in the morning straight away?
Instantly, yeah. The sites crash and then you try and get other tickets and that's it.
When you see tickets exchanging hands, or at least being advertised for that sort of price, what sort of emotions do you have?
I just think it's ridiculous. It kind of promotes people to buy as many tickets as they can off websites, not because they want to go, but because they know they're going to make profit.
I'm a massive Will Young fan, and I queued up for hours to try and get the tickets, and I couldn't. And then I ended up paying a ridiculous amount for the tickets.
I ended up having to pay double the price through a secondary website, £50 instead of 25 or 30.
Next, we investigate another website which calls itself a fan-to-fan ticket exchange and find professional resellers operate through their website too.
Just recognising who the kind of key sellers are, who are actually paying our salaries.
And we find reselling spreading way beyond the traditional rock and pop gigs.
He told me that they paid, I think it was £1,590 for 3 last night seats, which is frightening, really.
Dispatches is investigating so-called fan-to-fan ticket exchanges, which say they're set up for fans to resell tickets to each other. But we found promoters allocating thousands of tickets to one website, and the same website, ViaGoGo, using multiple credit cards to buy tickets, then selling them to the public at over-face price. Alongside ViaGoGo, another company in the UK calls itself the biggest secondary ticketing exchange in Europe. Seatwave says it has more than 1 million tickets on its website at any one time, and it makes a big claim in its marketing.
Now, this is a TV ad brought out by Seatwave in 2010, but it's still on their website today.
If you're looking for tickets or have tickets to sell, go to seatwave.com.
This man is meant to reflect their typical seller, a fan who can no longer get to a gig.
It's so frustrating. I've got these gig tickets and now I can't go.
So when you go onto the Seatwave website, you are told it's Europe's largest fan-to-fan ticket exchange, an online marketplace where fans, that word again, can buy and sell tickets. So if you're at home going onto this website, it would be a fair assumption the sellers of most of their tickets are fans.
But we had gathered evidence that many of the tickets being sold through their site were coming from professional resellers. Last summer, our second undercover reporter, Katie, got a job as a part-time ticket agent to find out what was going on. Her manager is called Lee Lake.
It's a little bit wet.
Thanks.
He explains the different kinds of people who sell tickets through Seatwave.
We kind of categorise them in 3 ways. You have what we call a consumer, which is 1 or 2 time sellers who maybe someone can't go and sell a ticket or sell 2 tickets. So that's what we call a consumer seller.
Consumer sellers are what Seatwave concentrate on in their adverts. Last year, they said in an interview with Sky News,
99% of people who have ever sold tickets on Seatwave have sold fewer than 5 tickets.
But Lee Lake admits they have 2 more categories besides the consumers, which they don't admit to in their marketing.
Then we have what you call like pro sellers. So these guys would be maybe someone who works somewhere else full-time, at a bank or wherever, and are actually selling quite a lot of tickets. And then you have brokers who just sell tickets as their job. So are they touts? Probably some form of tout, yeah. maybe online touts.
He makes plain that these professional sellers, or touts rather, are important to the company.
To work in sales, obviously I've got the links with the brokers, so I'm just constantly speaking to people and saying, like, send me this, send me that, send me this.
Yeah.
Just recognising who the kind of key sellers are. Because those are the people who are constantly like wanting to get stuff up and be shown a little bit of love.
Yeah.
Although they might be a pain in the arse, they're actually paying our salaries. Because if they don't put their tickets up, we don't sell them. If we don't sell any tickets, we don't earn any commission.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Lee Lake has been at the centre of some controversy. In 2008, the O2 Arena banned him from their premises after they found him handing out tickets to buyers for a Coldplay gig. They found he had bought the tickets using multiple credit cards and multiple addresses, and they'd been sold through the Seatwave website. Seatwave told the media that Lee Lake had bought the tickets, but it was only in case the company needed to replace missing tickets for customers. But on Katie's first day, Lee Lake tells her something which the public wasn't told.
Just about me, I've been over here working for about 3.5 years. So before that I was doing tickets on the side. So I kind of got bored with my job and got to know a guy here because I was selling tickets through Seatwave.
Yeah.
And then continued doing that. So I still kind of sell lots of tickets, which kind of makes me know about my job.
Katie starts work in the last-minute ticket section. She's part of a system under which people can continue to sell their tickets through the site right up to the day of an event, as long as they bring them into the office. She's told lots of tickets for last year's Take That tour were bought up by brokers, and they ended up trying to sell them at the last minute.
Take That was absolutely mental. There's been a few...
How come there were so many last-minute tickets for Take That? Just
Once
people...
again, I think brokers, a lot of the brokers, you know, something as massive as that, they just buy hundreds and hundreds of tickets.
Yeah.
And then they just have too many, and you know, we were bidding sort of 40, 50 tickets a night. On Friday and Saturday, there was like maybe 5 or 6 tickets left, but there was one night that I came back with a folder full of tickets and they were all unsold, and it's like, that's really...
So they just buy loads of tickets?
But they make so much money on the ones that they sell that they still kind of make a profit anyway, it doesn't matter.
And it's this colleague who's been assigned to show her the ropes, as he's been doing the job for a few months. At lunch, Katie asks him about the branding of Seatwave as fan-to-fan.
It's not fan-to-fan, is it, if it's brokers?
I don't think people are supposed to know that.
Oh, really?
He says when they deal with the public, they don't tell them that they're buying from big sellers.
Yeah, you either say, well, we don't know, we're literally just some computers that's in the middle of it. If they wanted a name, then you'd say it's whatever. You wouldn't go, oh, he sells loads of tickets.
Recently, this video surfaced on YouTube. It shows the CEO of Seatwave, Joe Cohen, presenting to colleagues and investors at an internet industry conference in 2010. And here he gives a makeup of the sellers on Seatwave.
Kind of the economics and the makeup of our sellers. We've got large brokers who are people who are taking vast amounts of supply and inventory, selling tickets professionally.
The figures say brokers list over 2/3 of the tickets on Seatwave and make up nearly half of the sales. And another category of seller isn't fans either.
We've got consumer sellers, and then we've got event organizers who are trying to yield, manage, and sell unsold inventory as well within our exchange.
So ticket sales by fans, who they call consumers, are a minority. They sell just over 1/3 of the tickets. But when you go on the Seatwave website, you are not given any of these figures. The website just says anyone is free to sell legitimate tickets on Seatwave. It gives no details of who the sellers are, and there's no mention of brokers or event organisers. We showed our evidence to Professor Twig Flessner and asked his opinion on what we'd found.
So there you go, Seatwave, claiming to be Europe's largest fan-to-fan ticket exchange. What did you see?
Something that doesn't seem to be involving a great deal of fan-to-fan exchanging, but rather business-to-fan exchanges. We see that less than half of the tickets sold are from real fans. We're seeing that the majority of tickets come from professional outfits. Once again, consumers are being misled. That is clearly not acceptable under consumer protection rules.
Katie only worked for 9 days at Seatwave. Her undercover role was compromised and she was fired. Last month, Seatwave changed their branding so their logo no longer says fan to fan. But the fan to fan description is still on their website and they still carry their advert on the site. We approached Seatwave for their response to our evidence. Seatwave denied that they had breached any consumer regulations. Its CEO Joe Cohen told us,
Seatwave was set up 5 years ago to help fans get better access to events at market-based prices and have complete peace of mind that the money they were spending on tickets was secure. Along the way, we have led the industry in the areas of consumer protection and transparency, and we will continue to lead the way in providing fans better access to the events that they are passionate about. We will continue to do so in a fair and transparent way.
The resale of tickets online is now thought to be worth up to £1 billion a year. And the activities of resellers are branching out from the traditional rock and pop gigs. Last year, the National Gallery's Leonardo da Vinci exhibition sold out, with people queuing round the block for on-the-day tickets. But the gallery publicly complained about resale websites after the £16 tickets were being advertised online for hundreds of pounds. Reselling has even reached that great British institution, the last night of the proms. Peter Robinson makes a huge effort to get a ticket when the proms go on sale every year. He takes the first train from Ipswich to London and queues at the box office from 8 in the morning.
It's not just the music, it's the people who you meet. It's one big picnic.
Peter was lucky and got a ticket last year, but many didn't. They had to queue for hours on the last night itself for first come, first served standing tickets. And some were turned away as it was full.
No more tickets to sell. If I could ask you to go home, watch it on television, listen to it.
But tickets were changing hands online for huge markups. Peter spoke to the person sitting next to him.
And he said to me, guess how much we paid? So I said 200 to 300. And he just went, I said 400. He went, he told me that they paid, I think it was £1,590 for 3 last night seats, which is frightening, really. The proms are the crown jewels of our music season. And I believe they should be protected, but people are making big money out of it.
Reg Walker is an independent consultant who specialises in security for major venues around the country. One of his jobs is to tackle the unlicensed resale of tickets. He says the online market has transformed the traditional face of the street corner tout.
Since the advent of the internet, it's become much more of a cold, cynical harvesting of tickets for events, with the use of limited companies, multiple credit cards, in multiple names. It may be done by sending people to various box offices. It's an industrial scale. And in my opinion, it simply is immoral, unethical, and disadvantages the very people in society that cannot afford to pay through the nose for tickets.
It's currently legal to resell a ticket online unless it's for football or the Olympics. 5 years ago, a House of Commons Select Committee considered whether the secondary market should be regulated. Joe Cohen of Seatwave and Eric Baker, CEO of ViaGoGo, went before the committee and defended the secondary market as being in the interests of the consumer. The committee decided against regulation. But MP Sharon Hodgson is one politician who thinks the time has come to look again at the industry. Last year, she tried to bring in a private members' bill to restrict reselling.
Well, what I want is that these tickets can only be resold at, say, face value plus a small percentage. So anybody with a ticket, you know, for an event and they find they can't go, they would be able to resell it on a secondary website. But if you take the profit out, people won't deliberately buy them up in huge numbers in order to resell at a profit.
While Paul was undercover at ViaGoGo, its founder and chief executive Eric Baker came to give a talk to all the staff.
This is the year that we clearly established that we're the dominant player in Europe. If we continue to deliver on, doing the deals, developing the product, where we want to own the entire world. So we're trying.
So Paul asks him about Sharon Hodgson's bill.
Yes. Hi. I heard that there was a law which was potentially going to be passed about resale of tickets above 10% of their face value.
The odds of that law passing in this country are about the same as the odds of you turning on your telly and seeing me playing keeper for Chelsea. Okay? And I don't even play soccer. Every local place that we go into is the same script. These people get upset. First they say, well, this is illegal. We say, no, we actually read the law. Those wars have been fought. The law's not changing in this country. So thanks. Thank you.
Last month in the House of Commons, Sharon Hodgson's bill was dropped. But she says she is not going to give up.
Hopefully the reaction from this programme will horrify the public, and this would certainly support my campaign for saying that the time has now come that we need to legislate and do something about this.
Now, as of this week, the secondary websites were still very much open for business. Even tickets for Channel 4's comedy gala in aid of Great Ormond Street Hospital have been listed on some of the secondaries between £65 and £700. And that was within a few hours of them going on sale.
But during our undercover investigation, we did find one way to get hold of a ticket. At the end of a working day, ViaGoGo had failed to sell a couple of tickets, so Paul and his colleagues were offered them for free.
You have 2 tickets left. It's Scary Barlow, though.
When is it?
Tonight.
Oh, right, I can't go tonight. What a shame.
It's Scary Barlow, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
For free. Cool, thanks. That's awesome.
So if you want to get a good seat, don't bother logging on. Work inside a secondary ticket exchange.